Do you think about your final image before pressing the shutter button? In this week's video, we're going to be talking about pre-visualization in interior photography. Back in October, I led a private 12-day journey across Georgia and Armenia with a small group of photographers. It was slow, it was deliberate, built around places that rarely make it into guidebooks. As usual, we began in Tbilisi, a city I know very well, of course, a place where layers sit on top of each other without apology. Old staircases, fading courtyards, the kind of spaces that reward patience, especially in 2025. Things have changed a lot here. It wasn't long though before we moved on, moving west towards Tbilisi. Just outside it, Tbilisi, the town frozen in fragments. Sanatoriums, once built for rest, now left to time, moisture, and to decay. We spent days moving carefully through these buildings, looking for structure, looking for balance, waiting for the light rather than chasing it. Tbilisi itself gave us more than Tbilisi. It's my favourite city in Georgia. Small, walkable, cobbled streets, quiet corners that open up slowly, an amazing market in the centre. And the weather was treating us well as we then headed south. Away from the bigger cities and out of the urbanisation for a bit, towards ruins, churches and small mosques, scattered throughout the countryside. Places with no signs, no barriers, just history sitting in the open. I'd also been looking for some culture houses that I'd known about for years. Some I'd been to and others not. Vandalised. In one case, collapsed. Georgia's changing and rapidly. The next day we crossed into a place that's probably 5 or 6 years behind, although the new highways have certainly shifted the mood. We moved into Armenia. Soviet relics appeared quickly, heavy forms, concrete. Radar dishes followed, huge structures in open land. We shot them at sunset, letting scale carry the frame. One site stayed with us longer though, a place I'd been to before. The Radio Optical Observatory, known as ROT. Built during the Soviet period for radar astronomy and deep space research, once used to track signals far beyond Armenia, now silent. Well, kind of. It has many visitors in 2025. We waited though, nearly 3 hours. The light was harsh at first, so we did nothing. We watched, it faded, until the control room was left alone, quiet and balanced. We then got our photos and moved on. Some of these places were familiar to me. I first visited Armenia in 2019. A Soviet sewing factory was one of them. Same walls, different feeling, shared with different people. Other locations were new, an isolated church. A bus station that I'd wanted to see for years. We were turned away the first visit. We returned 3 days later and got in. Yerevan was busy. A huge festival had disrupted our plans. Roads were closed, access changed, but we worked around it. We finished Armenia with monasteries, stone, age and distance from everything else. A lot of these have been on my radar for a very long time, some of them amazing to be honest. Many of Armenia's monasteries sit right beside main roads. Others are hidden far beyond them. The further you travel, the quieter they become. Fewer people and more time inside to work with the space. Some are harder to reach, and that matters when I'm working with a mixed age group. We chose locations that balanced access with solitude and images, of course. Most of these places are open to the public, but in the quieter ones, you can set a tripod down, slow down and stay with the frame. Inside, the interiors are dark and restrained. You wait for the light. You follow the lines in the stone. You build a sequence, not a single image. This is where Armenia starts to feel different. My most stupid moment of the year happened on the border between Armenia and Georgia. I'd hired a 4x4 in Tbilisi, and returning it back I needed to use the car passport. They have a passport for cars in that area of the world, and I'd misplaced it. 2 hours later, after being rejected from the border, of course I located it in the last place I looked in the car itself. Eventually we drove back to Tbilisi. We had a cool night, we chilled out, I woke up the next morning, camera ready, it was time to film. So today in this video we're kind of working backwards then, because you've already seen now the final results. So how did we get to that point? How did we visualise that mood? Now the methods we're going to be talking about today are used in both photography and in cinema, so in video too. Having a concept, a mood, an idea, of course can be done in terms of like more extreme circumstances, a mood board, an idea, a concept. It's no different for a photography shoot. If you're going to go in looking at space, especially in architecture, you want to kind of pre-visualize everything and look at kind of what it's going to look like in your mind. What is that final result? Could I pull this shot off? And if so, how are we going to go about it? So the first thing you can do is to observe the space, the lines, the light, and the possible frames that you could capture. Understand kind of before you press the shutter button what it is you're trying to achieve. Next, we're going to decide on the end result. Like, do you want symmetry in the image? For me, the answer is always yes. In which case, we're probably going to be more in the middle of the room looking through the photo. Do you want a texture focus? In other words, do we need to move our tripod further forwards or further back to include texture in the image? Wide versus close crop. There's some beautiful, beautiful railings in here. If you're the sort of person who shoots detail, some great shots to be had in this kind of location where you've got beautiful iron staircase. So now we've done all of that pre-visualization, we're going to look to capture the images, of course. So we're almost like working backwards. Which shots are going to be needed to capture that? And what I mean by this is, for me, it's going to be 3 images to create a panoramic, because this is quite a high staircase and you can't see it, but there's a ceiling just up here. You've got the images in your mind. You've got the visualization about what it is you're trying to achieve, the end result. And now you can set upon the task of actually capturing those images. For me, I'm going to need full tripod height. I'm going to need a nice level base. Of course, I'm actually using a ball head. I talked about that in a previous video. So one of the tips I'm going to give you is, once I've got this tripod nice and level, like so, is to then level off this head. Make sure it's nice and straight. To accompany an L bracket, just like that. Easy. It isn't just about position of the tripod, it's also about, of course, lens choice. And I knew up front that we're going to be using the 17mm tilt shift lens here in this interior, because we need to reach the high space, get far as back as possible. Before you even set the camera down, ask yourself a few things. What story are you telling with this space? Where do you want the viewer's eye to land first? Is there a ceiling pulling you upward? Is there an entrance drawing you in? A staircase carrying you through the frame? Look for something that leaves the eye, something that connects one part of the space to the next. That's how a photograph starts to hold together. One of the other tips I can give you on pre-visualization is about the light. Is the light going to be changing at a particular time of day, a time of the month, or even a particular time of year? There's images I've captured where you can only get the light rising through arches, for example, here in Georgia, at a particular time of year, the end of October. Is there light in the morning that's going to come through stained glass windows and ruin the scene, or potentially add to it? Pre-visualizing that can also go a long way to get you a better result. And the final one, of course, is printing. Do you print your images? And if so, I'd love to hear about it in the comments down below. But pre-visualizing what it's going to look like on a print, is there reflections? Is there some puddle in the foreground? Or maybe there's a beautiful staircase with a really shiny surface that isn't going to particularly print very well. It's going to distract the viewer's eye. Editing plays a huge part of this pre-visualization, because finally you can kind of think about, am I going to have a bit of a vignette, a radial filter? Is there going to be a place that can help me to draw the viewer's eye into a particular part of the image? And of course that can be done in post. So once we've got to our place, whether it's in a city or urban environment, wherever it is, and we've got the idea in our mind, of course we can adapt that and change it in the field. Like when we walk into the space, it might be that we need to kind of rethink things. Maybe there's a better time of day for the lighting. But either way, I can't stress the importance enough of going in and actually having a plan, a visual in your mind of what that final shoot is going to look like. So the next location I've never been before. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk on down. Once we get there, we might have to adapt our plan, adapt our visual in our mind.
So I'm now in a completely different place, but pre-visualizing the shot is helping me to kind of make the viewer stop, stare and think, for a moment. And that's what you're trying to do. That's what you're trying to convey. Are your images worth it? Are they going to give the viewer what you're anticipating it to do? Are they going to give them a feeling, a bit of an emotion? That's probably what we're looking at, right? Are you planning to stitch a panorama? Are you planning to have your shadows dark and moody?
So pre-visualization then starts before you even arrive. Research the space maybe and imagine how it might feel. Think about the scale, light, direction and how you expect to move through it, even if you've never been before. That being said, many of my best images are done on repeat visits. Because I know the lay of the land, I know where I can go back and I know where I can improve on stuff. I know where the light sits, I know how to gain access, say, or I know the best place for my tripod. Decide what kind of images you're after before you walk in, wide, compressed, symmetrical, or detail driven. When you arrive, you're not guessing. At least it gives you some testing ideas. That preparation gives you focus, and focus is what turns an unfamiliar place into a set of coherent images.
So no matter your genre, I encourage you to pre-visualize your next shoot. Don't just shoot what's in front of you, but pre-visualize in your mind what it's going to end up looking like, whether it's for print or digital. Have you got any comments about your journey into photography? Please do write them down in the description below. And until next time, from here in Tbilisi, Georgia, I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.